How's it going, everybody? In today's video, I'm going to be talking some of my thoughts on primary weapons and lethality versus forgiveness. I'm going to split my thoughts up into a few different videos, as I know that if I try to do one video covering all of it, it's going to spiral really bad. So, for sake of this one, we're going to cover primary ammo lethality versus forgiveness. So, I guess for sake of this, we're just going to go play a match of Crucible, we're going to play a Rose game, and just go in and play the game. And we're going to play a Relic. And in the meantime, I'm going to talk a few of my different weapons. 140s, 340s, etc. So, we have a lot of weapons in the game with really fast TTKs with high forgiveness values. A few of the most popular options are Rose, Ace of Spades, Elsie's Rifle, No Time, and Red Death. Graviton made its way into that set of weapons recently because of the fact that its TTK got juiced due to the fact of an RPM buff and having the damage model it does. Which honestly is really fun for a little while, and then you get really bored of it because it becomes the only thing you see. That enters kind of the entirety of my point here, is that something with a really fast but really forgiving TTK, like Rose, Slide Shot Explosive, as this is the role you're most common to see. At least from what I've noticed, because I'm always getting flinched off target because of explosive payload, and how hand cannons deal flinch. So, as you all are probably well enough aware by now, I like to use weapons that do not compete on the same level as stuff like Rose, Ace of Spades, which went to my vault again for whatever reason, or No Time. I like to use weapons that have their own little gimmick, but don't play on the same level. So, Slick Draw Gut Shot, Stay Frosty, stuff that doesn't compete. But, here's the thing. How the meta is today does not really allow for that. And from what I have noticed over the past, I don't know, year or so, since Seraph, the meta has shifted drastically to its function over experimentation. If it functions well at a high level, or just any level, that is what players will run. So that's why Matador and Rose is such a popular option, because it gets results. That's why Ace of Spades is in on that same combination, because it gets results, and not a lot of people can play against it because of what it can do. So, we're in a queue yet. Oh. Makes sense. It is the weekend, people are playing Trials, and that's fine. It gives me a little bit more time to talk. As you are all well aware, my favorite weapon in the game is Wicked Implement. Here it is. It's a 180 scout. Here starts my conversation topic, and my question to you guys is, should weapons be as lethal as they are with the movement speed we have? My take on this is that they should not be as lethal if we're going to stay this fast. We could spare to lose a headshot, or take one more headshot with a hand cannon or a scout rifle or whatever to achieve optimal TTK if we're going to move this fast. Or we go the opposite option and we slow ourselves down a bit and keep this TTK. Because right now there is a bit of a twofold issue. We're fast, TTKs are fast, and generally speaking, the player that is fast has that fast TTK. A player that goes slow and tries to play against it will always lose, unless they have to play the farthest back corner of the map to simply try and avoid getting taken out by this. And with a loadout like this, Macabre and Rose, I can stay any range and win a fight. Generally speaking, with ease. So, should we stay as lethal as we are with the movement speed that we have? I say no. We give or take one of them. I think Bungie should try to experiment again with that, because they did with Checkmate. They experimented with hand cannons 4-tapping. I liked that, because guess what? Even my weapon had an extended TTK. About 6k of those kills are extended TTKs, 5 headshots. The Checkmate game mode, in my eyes, failed itself because it did not keep a extended TTK across the board. And so, a little bit into it, we then got the change where hand cannons 3-tapped and high impacts 2-burst. Again. They're already so forgiving for getting headshots that the idea of if you miss your headshot TTK, your body shot TTK is extended was a cool one. It was okay. However, only for the hand cannons and 340s that did not have the stat packages or the under-the-hood perk combinations or perk pairings that the ones that are already popular have. So the big options there, Rose, Elsie's, they didn't feel anything. What am I trying to reload for? They didn't change anything at all, because nothing about them changed. Interesting, that's a new one. Ah, spear. Anyways, nothing about them realistically changed all that much, because they already had such a really lightning fast or optimal TTK under the hood that even if someone did try to change anything about it, nothing changed. And in my eyes, when you're already really fast, when you add the ability to do that kind of stuff on top of that, now you're going to start seeing issues because all of your players are going to go ahead and kind of devolve to that same thing. Almost. As you can see right there, that is a perfect example of a weapon that is just a little bit out of band. It may not be out of band by much, but it is just enough that it makes it really annoying to fight. Also, visual flinch is something of a nightmare just across the board. For any weapon that isn't a hand cannon or isn't a high impact pulse, you are effectively just screwed. And then here, with the triple ammo system, I'm not going to get into that one today. That's another video for another day. Alright. Alright, let's keep going. That's on me for missing my shots there, but as you can see, even there, just hitting a few shots helps to extend their TTK by any duration. Pick up that orb, gives us some woven mail. We'll play it on his part. Very well played. Alright. That right there was an instance of if I had not had the other one on my other side, I probably would have won that engagement simply off of the fact that the way that Forgiveness works, I would have been able to get that simply due to the fact that they could not realistically hit me all that well. That's another topic for another day. Alright, let's see. Where are they gonna be? That would have been a great hipfire shot. That forces his hand drastically. That right there was well played on their part, but the one thing that when they were fighting alone, if I hit my shots, they had a very hard time hitting me back. Because that damage, even if I didn't hit the headshot, was still flinching them like a madman. Worth just accepting death in that instance, because then I get to fight from a different side of the map. Good with the Vex shield, but right in that instance, you saw that I was well above him with that melee.
I've seen enough. I'm calling this one.
Alright, there goes into another issue I have with the melee, the meta at current, but that's going to be for the next game. Alright, as you can see, there were some fights that I won specifically due to explosive payload and the forgiveness of the hand cannon. There were some that I lost because I was in the wrong position. A lot of those, I probably should have theoretically lost because I was trying to fight a better weapon optimal TTK, or a weapon that does more damage outright. Mainly the high impact pulses, or their hand cannons. Not a bad match for that. I don't play hand cannons very often, and honestly, I am very tempted to just up and delete this until these get more of a nerf, as they rightfully deserve. So, I think that's what we're just gonna up and do. Goodbye, Rose. I'll see you another day. Alright. That's that game. Next one will be on abilities on a different class. Alright, game 2. We're talking abilities and overpotency. Using the top tree Dawnblade to use this one for example here, as you can use Icarus Dash with Firebolt Grenade to skate across the map really fast if you use Strafe Glide. I like to use Strafe Glide specifically because of Icarus Dash existing, because now instead of flying across the map at a slightly faster pace, you bolt across the map like you're something out of pop fiction. Now, there's a tech you can use with this that I don't think should exist in the game: snap skating. That's why I use Celestial Fire. Because, like in the past, you had shoulder charging infinitely. This is the same issue, sugar-coated to a different class, so now the population says, oh, don't touch it, it's movement tech. Right. So was infinite shoulder charge. I compare them directly to each other because they're both used in a movement setting. One could get kills, this one can get more kills technically, because of the way ignitions work. So, if I was to compare them directly to each other, which one would I say is worse? I would say the one that has more potential to get multi-kills. Now, for this build specifically, I'm running Phoenix Dive because if I'm moving this fast, I want a way to get to the floor. Generally speaking, this is how a lot of Dawnblades play these days. They'll skate around, but they'll use Burst Glide, because you get instant access to this snap skating. There are some of these techs, and staff skating exists for stasis too. There are some of these techs that should be dialed back because of how quickly you can cross a map with this class. Or with, for example, Prism. Prism can cross a map exceptionally quickly because of snap skating, or technically staff skating. Technically it has both, but it also has Blink to add in there, which then makes a different version of this that you can't really track, because your visual character is blinking in the sky when your actual character is on the floor. I've done it, I've seen it used. It is a nightmarish tech that breaks the game for every other player involved, creating a situation of how did he even pull that off? Man, that's BS, that's something stupid. If we dial that back, they have to eat an ability to gain that speed. I don't see an issue. It's the same, that's what I'm using here with the Strafe Icarus Dash. Because Icarus Dash, when you consume it, will switch your glide from Strafe Glide to Burst Glide. An enhanced version of it too. So whenever the game does launch here, might take us a minute. Yeah, we'll Q control, I think. That might be faster. I like Relic because it tends to let the games go a little bit longer, but anyways, back to the topic at hand. The way that the movement tech currently works is that you don't expend an ability. You keep it, and then you can do it infinitely. A better way for movement tech to be achieved and used, and I'll be honest, Stasis Titan got a new movement tech buff that honestly breaks how it should behave, especially with the Whisper or Fragment of Hunger, which gives you 20% melee energy back for picking up a shard, which allows you to do it up to 6 or 7 times in a row, depending on how many of you there are. But, back to the Dawnblade here, you're in the sky, for the most part, using your abilities to jump around, stay out of cover, or stay in cover, get out of cover, get back into cover, etc. With the right weapon, and I'm honestly pairing this with a worse weapon, and I would pair this probably with my Ancient Gospel, or just pretty much anything else. Thorn would be a good option here. Ace, anything. I'm going with this because I do not want to run it with that, just because. You also have things like the Fragment of... or Ember of Benevolence. This gives you, I think it's like a 300 or 400% ability increase rate to all of your abilities for applying Restoration, Cure, or Radiant. This is the same across PvE and PvP. Now, in the past, Bungie have nerfed things like this for PvP specifically. I think it's about time that we do that for these fragments that we got with the 3.0 subclasses, as Arc has one like this, Void has some ways to do around this as well, and Benevolence gets and just does all abilities, no questions asked, and with this class you can do all of that for free. Heat Rises, you grant Cure, your melee if you're running the right fragment, makes you and nearby allies radiant, and then grants Cure. So it just kind of plays off that again. So you can extend the timer indefinitely with that.
Show your enemy this place belongs to you now.
Alright, let's see. Oh, perfect map for this too. It's assuming I can get my movement to go correctly here.
Zone A captured. Enemy claims zone
Alright,
C.
now I just have to wait for my timer to go away. I had to go for the reload in the middle of that. It's understandable. Alright. With Burst Glide, I can kind of strafe around objects at will, which is kind of nice. It's not the best one to have on, but it's what I prefer. Let him just max that healing real fast. Alright. Right there, explosive payload in action. Something that very, very easily shifts how the game is played. Because I can't hit him due to how much flinch I'm taking it. Teammate. There we go. Now with this specific pulse rifle roll, now I can just kind of go ahead and float in on here. I've got kill clip if I need it, and then Wellspring gives me my abilities back just a little bit faster. Get down, Phoenix dive. There we go. That sucks that my TTK was a little bit slower because he's lagging a little bit. Anyways, there you saw kind of a general idea of how this works. Not perfect, but it works. Alright, let's see. I have that again. I can do this. I don't have Benevolence on, so it doesn't do me anything, but if I did, that would help me drastically, because now I'd have 400% ability regen going to my other abilities. Which is the one way that I nerf myself and bring myself more in line with just any other player in the game, because I'll be honest, I really don't like playing with that kind of advantage over other players. I find it to be unfair on levels that I don't think fit the current meta we're already in. Nice. It was good on him for doing that. Zone B.
Zone B lost. Enemy has advantage. Zone C lost. Your enemy has a power play.
Go ahead and fly up into the sky here.
You have advantage. Zone B lost. Enemy has advantage. My Dora would be proud of you, Warlock. Zone A lost. Your enemy has a power play.
Alright, they're not there anymore, that's fine.
Zone C captured.
Now I can do this again.
Zone B lost. 5 minutes. Go your way. Reckon numbers down.
And now I almost have my next grenade back. So now I can just go ahead and end Heat Rises again. Had I hit that more on target, I probably would have killed it. Now I just have to go for my ability again, and that won't take me all that long. I've tried to consume that pretty much on cooldown as I get it.
Zone B lost. They have advantage.
Ah, it's a prism. Got Devour. Let's see.
Zone A captured. Zone advantage is yours. Zone C.
So now I'm weakened by that, so I'm just gonna go ahead and play over on this side for a minute. Watch and wait for my opponents here. Good to see that we've made someone swap. Alright, grenade energy.
Zone B captured.
I may not be the fastest player in the world, I can still get pretty quick.
3 minutes.
And so now with this roll, I can keep doing this pretty much as long as I get killed, so... let's just keep it up.
Down.
There we go. Just keep it going. Throw that. Might proc Radiant. No? Not there? Okay. Had a feeling he was coming for me, that's okay. My teammates will probably get him. If he doesn't, that's fine.
Zone B lost. They have advantage.
Keep the icebreaker off of me there.
Zone A lost. Your enemy has a power play.
Alright, then we're gonna cycle back to the other side of the map here.
Zone C captured. Zone B.
Alrighty. Teammates are there. I should have another grenade here just about now. Perfect.
1 minute. You have this.
Go ahead and cast that. We can go ahead and consume that.
Finish them. 30 seconds stand between you and victory.
Nice. So I may not have my grenade back to do that. But we almost do, so that's fine.
Zone C lost. They have advantage.
And this is a loose example of why we don't need such crazy ability regen. Just at base, we could be fine with getting a reduction.
You're a wall around those zones. Take that iron.
Now, there were a lot of instances where I could have benefited greatly from benevolence. But I'll be honest, I don't want it because I don't want to play that way. That is where I don't think the meta should be. Alright. On to the next one. Special ammo and some things they possibly could do to make it better. And then one more at the end to kind of TLDR everything. So if you want to skip to the end, it's there. Alright. Special ammo. Let's show how easy it is to get a lot of it. Well, at least let's try anyways. Because I am a bit rusty over the past couple days. I've been knocked out. Being sick. So, alright. For sake of this one, we're just going to cut it nice and simple here. We're using DMT with shoot to loot, so when I get primary kills, I get more special, so that means I get to throw more grenade launcher. We're going to see how many times I can throw it. You guys can keep track of it if you want. If you don't want, that's fine. We're just here to see how much I can throw. If not, doesn't matter. Otherwise, we're here to see how many times I get shotgunned, sniped, etc.
Show your enemy this place belongs to you now.
Alright, starting off, 2 ammo. Not bad. Throw that as far as it will go. Do it again. Now I start with 0. I'll grab both of those with the weapon, but it's not going to let me. Oh well. Try and get out of the way of that one. Throw that. There we go. Now we throw another one. Try to live here. There we go. We got it. Ah, he got himself. Hilarious. And there's the first shotgun kill. As you can see, I'm not as good using shoot to loot as I would like to be, but this is one of my first times genuinely trying to use it. Alright. special box. I could grab it, I could not grab it.
Zone C locked. Zone advantage is yours.
There we go. Nice shotgun kill, but that would have been a great little finish there to that. Because we would have had Devour going again, and we would have just kept it going.
That's a power play. You took them, now hold.
There we go. We got the kill. Oh, we didn't finish that one? That's fine. He's below me, that's okay. Rip.
Zone A locked.
And there we go. Since they're afraid of me getting the kill with it, they're gonna run at me with a shotgun instead. Completely understandable, considering how easy it is to get ammo for these weapons. Alright, let's keep it moving forward. That, more special, we're at 2 ammo off the rip. Go for the reload. Set with power ammo. Team gets to take advantage of it, because now they're chasing me because they don't want me to grab any of the special. But, had we been in the old system, if they wanted to take away my special ammo, they could just put on 2 primaries. That's an issue I have, is that you can't take away someone's special ammo by running double primary anymore. You can run double primary and still get ammo for special. Alright. I'm specifically not trying to grab it by running over it, so I can show shoot to loot in action. They're on the other side. Let's go. Nice with that. Alright, and we mercy roll. Let's throw him and see what happens. Nice. Alright. A lot of special ammo. There are better weapon types I could be using with this to pair, but as you can see, just having the ability to shoot the ammo, grab it from being far away. If I ran a sniper with that, a shotgun with that, a fusion with that, it would have been so much more lethal. Simply because you then have any ranged weapon you want without having to actually ever get close to it. So, that's that. Now into the TLDR. So, by this point in the video, you've probably seen me talk a little bit about primaries that step out of their bounds, and honestly, there's a couple ways that Bungie could probably bring those down. You drop aim assist values, you experiment with them first, across all weapon types, certain weapon types getting a harsher reduction, and certain weapon types getting lesser, because they already do have less. The other option is you reduce how they deal flinch. So Rose, the one I deleted, you reduce how much flinch it deals out, same with Ace of Spades. Same with weapons of that similar kind of weapon type that deal massive damage and massive flinch to tracking weapons like autos. If you can change that to where all weapons, yes, you're extending how far your damage will reach by having explosive on, but you're also not flinching them to the moon of Saturn to do so. If they can change that somehow to be a little bit less egregious, then you may not have to adjust aim assist values as much. Also reduce how far the effective ranges are, or how damage fall-off works once they've hit their cap. If it drops off steeper, maybe it wouldn't be so bad. But they want to still maintain the ability to kind of quote-unquote effectively fight beyond their effective TTK, or effective range. And I get that. There's also the issues with how fast a player moves, and how quick a TTK is. So you've got a couple different things you can experiment with first to see where they can go with, or where they can go around and find the right balance point. Aim assist values, I think, is the better first point. If not that, adjust how flinch is dealt across the board. Then start working your way down to other avenues. Adjusting specific weapon archetype fall off again, dropping it even further, if necessary. Adjusting how aim assist values work, so implement a 33% slick draw across the board. Guess what? Maybe that might be the trick. They have done in the past where they've experimented with perks in the artifact that became main game perks, and just became the norm. Void is an example of that. Grenades deal weaken damage when they're void. When 3.0 came out, grenade damage from a void subclass weakens targets. So I believe Slick Draw and Gut Shot are their experimentation with the idea of saying, alright, do you guys even want to try this? So that's my thought for primaries and high lethality, high forgiveness. Drop one of those, and the game is a little bit better. Movement across the board. Good drop, substantially. I loop that in with abilities, etc., because mainly you're using snap skating, you're using some form of a grapple tech to get across the map, and especially in the Strand Hunter Super, you can effectively cross the map 3 or 4 times before your super ends with that grapple. I have been killed by it about 4 times in spawn, back to back to back, because of both poor spawns and how fast that super moves. Because it flipped me twice. Once I was in one spawn, I got killed. It met me at the next spawn, then it spawned me another spawn. It's already right there. Grapple movement needs to be slower. The grapple melee needs to be less forgiving. Because you can be 3 guardians higher than somebody, and that thing's Pac-Man mouth range of connectivity is so big that you can be really far away from somebody and hit them, or if they're barely outside of that range, it might throw you down to them and then you can shotgun kill them, or they can shotgun you. It's up to either one. But it's the fact that it has such a high forgiveness and the fact that it moves you so far out of the grapple. Either one of those should change a little bit, maybe a 33% reduction in how far it can find you. Me personally, I think if you were using the grapple melee, if you are on a flat plane above somebody, so if their head does not cross into your guardian's height, you should not be hit by the grapple melee. It should just go straight over you. I believe the same of Eager Edge on swords, including the Waveframe sword. Same deal. If it's like 2 guardians above or below you, it should not try and find you. If it's on the same level as you, then it can find you. Make those tools movement tools, not kill tools. The Waveframe sword's a little harder to do that with, as it's a kill into kill tool. But Eager Edge and the grapple should be realistic to try something like that. Abilities themselves. Warlock has some really crazy movement tech using snap skating or staff skating I probably don't need to give an example of that, as you already know what I'm talking about. But it is effectively the same as the old shoulder charge movement, where you just shoulder charge into shoulder charge and you just keep moving around the map free of charge. No pun intended. It's the same kind of deal, but since it's on a Warlock, nobody's complaining about it because it's not a one-hit kill, quote unquote. But it can get multi-kills, so I see that as possibly even a worse thing to have. And it comes back faster because if you're using Heat Rise as you're in the air, any kill while airborne will give your melee energy back faster. And then you also have Benevolence on top of that, so now you can stack that on top of the fact that you're already airborne. When you hit a melee, it procs Radiant. If you proc Cure of any kind, if you have a Rift on the floor and somebody walks into it, now it refreshes your timer. Now that's a 400% timer on top of the kills for that melee. So, there's that. High lethality abilities could be looked into and reduced either in effectiveness or how frequent they can be dropped. That's a harder thing to try and bring into balance, but if Bungie can bring those in line with other more neutral abilities that do not have the same lethality, we should be in a better space. But if they do that, this plays into the whole movement speed that I brought into and just kind of combined into one segment here. If you have high lethality, high forgiveness, with fast movement, with less abilities, your meta is going to shift to become movement boots, or abilities, or fragments that give you that. I think there's one in here that when you suppress a target, it makes you faster. Right here. Domineering. You suppress a target, now you're faster. You stack that on top of Dune Marchers, now you go really, really fast. And then you also have, I think it's Dilation while crouched. A slide counts as a crouch. Now you can slide farther with Domineering as well. So, food for thought. And then my final topic, special ammo. It is too frequent for how potent it is. You have all the shotguns that are getting free ammo, 2 at the start of a match, if somebody gets a primary kill, and like I showed in the last game, shoot to loot is a thing that you can use. I wasn't using it to the greatest effect because, I'll be honest, I would like some opacity changes because that would allow me to shoot the ammo brick without trying to shoot the middle of the ammo marker. So, if Bungie does watch this, I'm not trying to harp on anything, I'm trying to give you ideas. Let's get some opacity settings for the on-field markers so I can see my targets and see the ammo bricks, so I know where to aim for those. That would be appreciated. But, back to topic. Shoot to loot allows me to use a sniper, a shotgun, a trace rifle, that much more consistently, even the swords, because this auto has shoot to loot. And I know a guy who uses it to great effect. Now, does that mean I don't want shoot to loot to interact with special? No, I would like it to stay this way. What I would like to happen is one of two things. Ammo efficacy, where the special ammo efficacy across the board is dropped. Snipers require 2 shots, shotguns require 2 shots, fusions deal less damage, so effectively they are a secondary only tool. You deal massive amounts of damage, but then you have to clean them up either with a melee, an ability, or melee grenade, or primary, feeding into the cycle of using all of your kit, or 2 aspects of your kit to get a kill, not just a singular aspect. Will that happen? Ever? No. Absolutely not, because the majority of players would cry about it. And that's okay. In my eyes. I prefer to use a primary. As y'all know, Wicked is my most used weapon. I would prefer to use that over a special weapon any day of the week. I shifted away from a double primary setup because the 111 system came into effect. And now, no matter if I'm running double primary or not, someone can kill me and get ammo. That ain't fun in my eyes. So, thus, I stopped running double primary. because there's no reason. The other option is the triple one system gets adjusted, and it becomes a double one system. Kills give you ammo, and boxes give you ammo. You don't spawn with it anymore. Now, you get 1 ammo at the start of a game. Now you earn your ammo through kills, but you don't start with one, so you can't get 3 effective kills off the rip. Do I think that's probably a feasible idea? Probably. Because we already have the system in place, just turn off one of the settings. How easy is that to do in the code? I don't know. Would it work? Possibly. The one I am really hopeful for, the ammo meter. I would like to hear back on that, as I'm still waiting for when we get that back, because I really liked that one. Or, the other option. Oops, sorry about that. The other option that I have is bring back Checkmate to the Control playlist. Let's go to the Crucible here. The other option I have, and I know a lot of people would hate this, but I think it's honestly a decent idea. Control, Rumble, Competitive, and Trials get a Checkmate modifier. And then every other mode here, which is 2, still decent amount, because Relic, this is supposed to be a party game mode, or a party mode. This is supposed to be your everyone can play, everyone has a good time, or everyone just plays with a more normalized setting, right? Give Checkmate here, adjust how our special ammo works, either in lethality, acquisition, or amount, and adjust our primaries to kill a little bit longer. Then you keep our movement, and I think everyone should theoretically be okay. Then leave our current meta that we have right now, this ability into then special, into then primary, leave that over in Relic. That way I don't have to play it all day. That way nobody has to play it all day, because I'll be honest, there's probably a lot of players who, if they did not have to play this current sandbox all the time, might honestly play the game more. I've had a lot of people in my Discord say, hey, I really don't like this meta, it is not fun. And I agree with them. It's not fun fighting the same generic cookie cutter the whole time. But, in the grand scheme of things, if you want to be playing anything, you have to play what they play, or just get out of PvP, because of how effective their loadouts are versus anything else. Now, I am starting to spiral here, so I'm just going to go ahead and call it here. Let me know your thoughts in the description down below, as a lot of what I said today is going to probably annoy 75% of the viewers, and that's okay. And this is meant to be my opinions on what I think might help the game. Will it actually help the game? I don't know. Do I want them to experiment with it to see? Yes. Would I like a node specifically for them to experiment with it, so that the players that do have issue with this current meta can go shift over there and say yes or no, and give Bungie the right advice to then adjust it to be better? I think that is a decent idea. And then the players that prefer this current mosh pit sandbox of everything is far too frequent, they can go in their corner and have fun, and not play in the space I want to play. And I'd be okay. Now, let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments below. There's 3 different games, one focused more on special, one on primaries that realistically shouldn't be the way they are, and be adjusted in one way or another, and abilities. That gameplay, the one for abilities, I was not playing with as much abilities as possible. There are ways to get a lot more than what I had there. So, with that being said, I'll see you tomorrow with some more gameplay. Not talking about this. All of my opinions stop and end here. I'll let Bungie continue to do what they want to do. And if we see checkmate, or we see the meter back sometime in the future, hooray. If not, I'll just find other ways to play around the meta. But in the meantime, y'all have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow.